Hey everyone, today I wanted to talk about what it's like living with diverticulitis or diverticulosis. Diverticulosis is when your colon has like these small pockets. It forms, I don't know how it forms, why it forms. I think a lot of it has to do with if you are constipated a lot. But I'm really not sure. Anyways, diverticulitis is when these pockets get inflamed. You know, like maybe food could get stuck in there, or, worse, if you're constipated, then other stuff can get stuck in there. I don't know why some people get it and other people don't, but I found out I have diverticulosis, which happened to turn into a diverticulitis flare-up when I was actually in Florida. So this is just my experience with it, in case if somebody, has been diagnosed and they're kind of curious from a patient's point of view of what it's like. I'm not a doctor or anything, and I'm not here to diagnose anybody, but this was my experience. So I was in Florida and I noticed that I couldn't go to the bathroom, and it was about 3 days. Like I went a little bit, but I couldn't really, clean myself out, I guess, or empty myself. So I started getting pain in the lower left, which is the sigmoid colon, and that's where it's kind of like an S, so things can kind of get trapped in there easy. It's like at the end of your colon that attaches to the rectum, I believe. Anyways, so I had pain, and I didn't think much of it. I just thought, I have to go to the bathroom probably. So I drank some prune juice, and it didn't seem to really help much. And then the next day, it actually was very loose. So I thought, oh good, I guess it's all coming out. But I felt nauseous, and I figured, okay, maybe it's because of the prune juice, or because I just haven't been feeling that great for the past few days. Anyway, so I made some soup. My boyfriend was upstairs, and he has diverticulosis actually, so he's had many flare-ups, so he's familiar with this. I didn't really know anything about it, except for what he had told me about his. So he was upstairs, he was working out, and I took a few sips of my soup. I felt like I was going to be sick, and then all of a sudden I felt like all the color rushed from my face, and I felt really horrible in my head. Now, I don't know if anybody's ever felt that, like when you have an infection, you kind of know something's going wrong, like you feel very, very run down. It was such an awful feeling, and I felt like I was going to pass out. So I managed to, get up to the stairs, and I sat on the bed, and I told him, I need to go to the hospital, something's not right. You kind of feel it, listen to your body. If you feel like something is wrong. Now, not everybody, needs to go to the hospital, but I didn't know what was going on, right? So I didn't know how to really help myself. So we went to the hospital, and the doctor had pushed down, and oh my God, I kind of winced in pain and asked her, please don't push there. And she said, okay, we're going to send you for a CT scan. And that's when my boyfriend had said to her, it sounds like diverticulitis. What made him really think about that as diverticulitis is when I had the pain, and when I went to urinate, as it's coming out, it's like, it was hurting, but then once it came out, it's like the pain was just a little less intense, and he said that's what happens to him. So when we went to the hospital, he said to the doctor, I think it might be diverticulitis, and she said, good call, we're going to send her for a CT scan anyway, and they wanted to give me something, to help the pain. So they sent me for the CT scan. Sure enough, that's what showed up. So they put me on a complete liquid diet for 2 days that I was in the hospital. And it has to be like clear liquids and like jello, because that turns into a liquid. I don't know what the reason for that is. I think it's so that in case they have to do a colonoscopy, like they can see what's in there. However, I heard that when you have a flare up, you should not be getting a colonoscopy because it can actually rupture one of those pouches, which could become very dangerous. So they put me on antibiotics in the hospital. I was so hungry, oh my God, but I could drink as much as I want, have ice chips, whatever. So the next, the day that they were going to release me, they had me try a little bit of potatoes. It was all bland, very plain potatoes and a little piece of, I think it was turkey, but it was like, it was rubbery. I don't know. Was it hospital food? I don't know. And they wanted to make sure that I wouldn't throw it up. So I ate it. I still had the pain though. But I was able to keep it down. Oh, and the day before, they had given me a stool softener. And I had mentioned that, I had the loose stool that morning, and they said it doesn't matter. You can actually be constipated and still have diarrhea, actually, if any of you didn't know that. I think it's because even though you're impacted, water tends to back up and it kind of comes around and it comes out like diarrhea. So you think that, oh, you're cleaned out, which I thought, but that wasn't the case. And that's easy because it'll just loosen it without it being stressful on the colon. So you're supposed to slowly introduce food back into your system. Don't overdo it. You shouldn't have any fiber because fiber, puts some strain on the colon, and you don't want that. You want it to heal because it's inflamed. So I was on, sorry for the neighbor's dog. I was on these antibiotics for 11 days. Oh my God. The pills were so big. I had to cut them in 3 pieces actually, because even in half it was way too big. I can't swallow big pills at all. So I was on them, and I still had a lot of pain. I was taking Tylenol because I really don't like to take painkillers, if I can avoid it. So I was just taking Tylenol and trying to rest my belly a little bit. I did lose about 5 pounds at that time, probably because I was on mainly a liquid diet. They say you shouldn't really have milk, too much dairy, because that can also cause inflammation. I know I'm having a cup of tea here, but it's just very, very minimal dairy. But so today, I woke up and I started feeling that pain, and I'm like, oh God, here it is again. But not everybody needs antibiotics. If you know what to do and you know what it is now, you can actually, heal it on your own. So today I had just a piece of toast, and then I had a chicken breast. I boiled it in just water with a potato without the skin because you don't want the fiber on there. And I put a little bit of salt for flavor after, and that was it. That was all I ate. And I didn't even eat a lot. But I know that by, minimizing what's going in there, it's kind of like you're giving your colon a break, And if you're in a lot of pain, though, go to the hospital if you don't know what it is, or if you have a fever. But I didn't have a fever at all. So, I was like, okay, so it's not like an infection where I need a fever, but there is inflammation. I could tell right away. And if you have this, you'll know. If you haven't had it and you have any of these symptoms, you should go to the hospital, to make sure everything's fine. And if you do find out it is a diverticulitis flare-up, then you're going to know for the next time what to avoid. Now, I'm still learning what my body can and cannot eat. I know that when I have raw celery, that tends to upset my stomach, or my colon, I should say, because, you know, it takes a lot for the fiber to go through, even though you need to have fiber, right? But you can have, when you're not in a flare-up, like a liquid fiber. I don't like it because it gets really thick and gross. So what I've been doing is taking magnesium citrate, because that brings, like, it pulls water into your colon, and it's going to help keep you regular, you know. And then when I'm having a flare up, I can take like a stool softener, just so that it's not, you know, I'm not, you know, that I'm able to go regularly, you know, even though I don't have too much food in me. But you still want to keep, you know, everything flushing out, and kind of give it that little bit of a break. And then it could take up to 2 weeks sometimes for the inflammation to really go down. Like after my trip to the hospital, oh my God, I kept having pain on and off for, I want to say, like 3 months. And I thought, is it coming back? But the meds are so strong, it killed all the inflammation, all the infection, I should say. But it's because you're so sensitive now, you know, and certain things that you eat could kind of bother it. So not everybody avoids things, but I've decided to avoid certain things. Now, you'll read online a lot. They changed things up. They said, you know, you could eat whatever, but I avoid, like, in between a flare up, I avoid any nuts. I avoid popcorn, anything with seeds, because I am so petrified of it getting stuck in one of the pouches that I really, like, I'm scared. So now I'm thinking what may have caused this is I had a dinner a few days ago, and I had a pate, you know, like with the crackers. We had grapes and stuff, and then so it could either be the pate, like maybe there was something in there that you know, kind of upset my colon. Like I know there was peppercorns and stuff. I might have had a peppercorn, or it could have been like a grape seed maybe I swallowed. I don't know what caused it. That's the thing. Like I'm still learning, you know, about my body and what I can and cannot have. Staying away from gluten helps. Like I'm gluten free. I have been for many years anyway. So if you are diagnosed with diverticulitis, you might want to give that a try. And when you're having a flare up, you know, if you want to eat, like you can have, you know, plain white rice, white pasta. Like you don't want to have the wheat or anything, you know, because of the fiber in there. But if you're gluten free, then the gluten free pasta is or should not really bother it too much, you know. But anyway, so that's my experience with diverticulitis. You know, it's a new way of life now. I know that I can't really do a lot of exercises for my stomach anymore because it tends to cause sharp pains. I know there are a lot of people who do work out, but for me personally, I can't. So I just avoid it, and I don't care because I don't want to end up in the hospital again. It's not fun. It's a horrible feeling, the pain, the nausea. It's not fun. And, you know, you don't want to get too many flare-ups, because if you end up getting too many flare-ups, I think eventually they want to discuss removing part of the colon. And you kind of want to avoid that if you can, you know. But anyways, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. And if you have any questions, comments, put it in the box down below, and I'll do my best. Or if you just want to share your experience. So see you in the next one.